If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. We welcome you to today's show and ask those of you who have not subscribed to please subscribe to our YouTube channel as we continue to expose the satanic Illuminati agenda and the ushering in of the Antichrist. We also ask those of you who have not subscribed to our backup channel to pause the video and do so now. You can find the link in the description box or the comment section below. This channel has one strike, so it is in danger of being shut down for exposing the truth and nothing but the truth. Today's show, I want to talk about the sudden death today of Prince. I'm not going to go on the record and say that it was an Illuminati sacrifice. I'm not going to go on the record without evidence and say that the Illuminati are behind it. But what I do want to point out is that I've talked about it on this show over and over again, that this period that just began leading up to May 1st and the Beltane, this satanic period for human sacrifice, is very, very important to the occult, to the Satanists out there. And I don't believe in coincidences. Now, I don't have any proof to put one and one together, because anytime one of these musicians mysteriously dies or these actors mysteriously die, they're usually a part of some type of ritual sacrifice. You might say, well, why would they kill somebody if they're a part of it? Because Prince was clearly at one point in time a part of the Illuminati, a part of this satanic society out there. He has album covers doing the all-seeing eye. He has been photographed singing before with the word slave written on his face, making reference to the fact that he is a slave, whether it was through MK Ultra Monarch programming, that he was a slave to them, or just a slave in general to the elitists who run Hollywood, who run the music industry. And he's gone on record recently as, talking about things such as the depopulation agenda and the chemtrails. He's gone on television interviews before and talked about how they're using chemtrails to poison us, and how they're using these chemtrails to depopulate. So what it reminds me of a lot is the Michael Jackson death that occurred, because towards the end, Michael Jackson, who was obviously, he was always a part of this Illuminati system and probably highly likely programmed during this entire period when he was famous, he started to break down towards the end, and he started to leak information and say things about the elitists and say things about the secret societies, and he threatened to go out and expose them. And then he suddenly died, which was pretty obvious. It was either a fake death and he's living somewhere else, or he was sacrificed. I know there's so many theories about Michael Jackson and being cloned and all this stuff. I'm not getting into that. But Prince's sudden death kind of rings very true to that, because he has been going out talking about how he feels the government has an agenda of depopulation. These are all things that we know the Illuminati is trying to do. Obviously, the Georgia Guidestones talk about the agenda. We know about Agenda 21 and the depopulation agenda. So he's been on record talking about these things and the chemtrails. And this could be a part of his programming breaking down. It could be a part of him growing a conscience and breaking away from all of this stuff. But what you have to remember is that when they get initiated and they become Prince wasn't some guy with a great voice that they just tapped on the shoulder and said, let's give him a record deal. Okay, as they go through this process, they make a deal with the devil himself. They sign a blood contract. Okay, to be a Satanist, you get baptized in Satanism. You sign a blood contract. And to them, once you sign it, there's no way out. So whether or not he claimed to be Christian or Jehovah's Witness or whatever he was claiming towards the end of his life or any of those things, we don't know what the guy felt in his heart. But what we do know is that once you're in for life. Once you are initiated, it's just like the Freemasons. You cannot escape. Once you take that vow, you're a part of it. So his death mysteriously falls here along with another death, which was a WWF, WWE wrestler China, who also happened to die today, which, once again, just another death in the wrestling world. We talked about it over and over, how all these wrestlers just die and just continue to die, coincidentally, in their 40s and 50s, and everybody blames it on steroids. Yet you see all the Freemason, Illuminati symbolism all over the place when you watch pro wrestling events. And I did an expose on WrestleMania. You could find at least 20 things, and maybe even more than I missed just watching a 3-hour presentation or 4-hour presentation. So that's just another mysterious death. But I told you on this channel last week, the April calendar for these Satanists is very, very important. During this 13-day period at the end of the month, leading into May Day, May 1st, the Beltane, there are human sacrifices performed for Satan, for Baal. And these are the things that we have to keep an eye out for, because I know that people love to hear this stuff. They want to, immediately they want, Prince the Illuminati killed him. Let's hear the conspiracy theory on it. I'm not giving a conspiracy theory on it. I can't prove or disprove anything. All I can do, and nobody can, when all these guys get killed, like Robin Williams and Whitney Houston and all these people, and you see all the symbolism around them, like when Whitney Houston was sacrificed by them, they have the sarcophaguses there right outside of her funeral, all this Egyptian, satanic stuff that's the core of the Illuminati's belief system. So yeah, you can create theories and all that stuff, but that's not what this channel is about. I'm not going to go and say he was definitely human sacrifice or he definitely wasn't. But what I'm saying is, if you look at the obvious signs with any of these people, and you look at the calendar, and you see that it's important for the Satanists at this time of year, during this window, to commit these human sacrifices, and the greater the power of the person on earth, the greater the sacrifices to Satan. So someone like Prince, who is famous and has power here on earth through his fame that they gave him and created, they have him sacrificed, whether his contract ran out, whether his contract was due with them and he owed them some type of sacrifice and he refused to do it, or whether or not he spoke out too much against them and they just figured, it's time to take him down, just like they do with many of these people if they ever go out and speak against him. You see the stuff with Cat Williams, how they have been going after him constantly because he went against them and exposed some secrets from, some of the mysterious parties and all that stuff. So this is just part of what they do. Nobody can ever really prove it or disprove it because the evidence is never going to come out. But when you suddenly mysteriously die, and then the story around it is he felt like he had the flu for a few weeks, and then you're just dead suddenly. Obviously, there's usually foul play involved, but the story will never get out. You'll never really know, just like Robin Williams, just like all these guys. So people can say theories or not, but what I say, and I'm pointing out, is that I don't believe in coincidences during this time period, specifically during this 13-day window where we know the veil was at its thinnest leading up to the Beltane, where the stronger the sacrifice, the more power they get, the more wishes they get granted, and that's truly what happens. So coincidence or not a coincidence, you got this guy who's handed fame by them, signed a contract with them many decades ago to be famous and rich. He walks around, he has slave written on his face, referring to that he is a slave to them. He has, album covers doing the all-seeing eye on the album cover. And then recently, a couple of years ago, speaking out against, Agenda 21, talking about how the chemtrails are poisonous, using the power that they gave him, pretty much the power that he has as a quote-unquote celebrity, or as I like to call them, false gods. He used that against them and spoke of these things. So as far as I'm concerned, I can't say one way or the other if he was ritually sacrificed. But again, during this window, I've told everybody who listens to the channel, just keep your eyes open. During the window, the mysterious deaths will occur. Mysterious events around the world will occur. We talked about all of the things that have happened, the Boston Marathon bombing, Oklahoma City bombings, Waco, Columbine, the Virginia Tech massacre. All of these things happened in this period after around April 16th, 17th to May 1st. And we know the 13-day window from April 19th to May 1st. This is when the veil gets thinner and thinner, and they perform these ritual sacrifices to Satan. So could this be one? It could be. It really could be. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't believe people mysteriously just drop dead at 57. But again, I can't prove it or disprove it. But I tell everyone out there the same thing. People ask me, anytime these things happen, I get asked. And my response is always the same. I don't believe in coincidences. Look at the satanic calendar always and see where things line up, because they work on their satanic calendar. Okay, there's holy days for them. There's days of human sacrifice. There's days of children being sacrificed. All of these things. And of course, they have their mass orgies and all that stuff. But they operate on that calendar. So the greater the death, the more power it gives them for the magic that they're trying to perform during this period when the veil is very thin. And like I said, the symbols and the signs of this guy, Prince, speaking out against them recently and talking about chemtrails, using his power of fame to go against them, that is a no-no as far as they're concerned. You can never do that. Once they give you that power that they give you as a quote-unquote celebrity, if you turn against them and you use that power to expose them, then you're pretty much writing your death wish right there. And that could be exactly what happened. It could be. But again, I can't prove it one way or the other. But like I said, keep your eyes open. The China death, the wrestler China. I know people say, well, she was a drug addict and stuff like that. But all of these things, they're not coincidences during this time period. And I expect to see many more world events happen in the next few days leading up to the 1st. So stay strong in your faith. Stay strong in your prayers. Prayers for everybody out there to stay strong during this window. If you're under spiritual attack, pray to our Father in heaven. Pray to the Holy Spirit for strength. Because this is true. This period of time, when the veil is thin like this and they are constantly committing human sacrifice and summoning these demons that they can pull over from the other side for magical powers and all that stuff that they perform, we are likely to be under attack. So stay strong in your faith. And again, keep your eyes open because more events like this will be occurring up until May 1st. God bless all of you. May peace be with you and your families.